Why, hello everyone. It's Friday, December 4th, and let's spend 5 minutes talking about college basketball and picking games. I'm not going to be betting tonight. I can't run around and do this tonight, but I have to talk about it because um, it's a video that looks like many of you have enjoyed, at least the first video about this yesterday. I did a second one that I don't think a lot of you have seen yet, going over later games. Now I'm going to go over today's games, which is Friday the 4th, but let's talk about the third yesterday. Apparently, on the initial day of this file, it went 18-3 yesterday. Is that right? Somebody please check me. Make sure that I had to type in the scores manually in here. I've got a whole setup now for bringing in the odds automatically when we can. Some of these games don't have odds. RotoWire, you guys are awesome. Their site is incredible. You can just copy paste and you're going to get odds of certain games here. So I was able to update everything, and basically here's what it looks like with the win losses in color and order. Like you've oh my God, I mean, won 17 of the first 18. The only one you lost is USC versus UConn, which I talked about last night in the video about how UConn's stats were a little distorted because their strength of schedule is off. Anyway, this margin of victory descending, which is what I'm sorting by, is really interesting and helpful. I mean, we've got also picks against the spread here. This thing went 13-8 against the spread. I mean, these are great numbers. Somebody please double check my numbers and make sure I did this right. But that's looking awesome. And what it's saying is that there are different money lines that certainly were bettable in here, and that's awesome. So that's a good day. But I've had days like that before where you hit 86 on the money line. This is really good though at 13-8. Now let's see about today, the last 3 minutes here. So odds are kind of weird in certain places, and sometimes I don't have money lines and things, and none of whether or not they have won the game yet matters yet because the games haven't been played yet. So none of this means anything at all when you're looking at the current day. You could just, you could hide it even if you wanted to because it doesn't matter. Make things a little bit easier for people to see as we're going to be browsing and talking about today's game. There is no final score yet. There is no opponent score. There is no margin of victory yet. So technically you could hide all that if you're just looking at today. Now, what you've got is a power percentage and marginal win percentage, or a comparison essentially between teams, where this is your team of reference that's telling you whether or not you should bet them. This is what their spread is. This is what their money line is. It's up against, I'm missing some data for Troy when it comes to the money line, or it's an error, but this game, it probably doesn't exist. It's 0. You can't bet them because they're a 28-point favorite. So as you see all this stuff, what you want to look for is, well, we're descending by the percent margin of victory, meaning where it's so distorted this way over this way, all right? Texas Tech should destroy Troy. They're going to walk in there and steal Helen. I mean, they're just going to crush it. That's what they're saying. Well, this is an unbettable game, though. You don't want to mess around with 28.5 points. That's a light year. It's too much. So where is the money line reasonable and the percentage really high? The answer is Florida International over Jacksonville State is only minus 225, so that's kind of reasonable for a parlay. Nothing. Ooh, here we go. Minus 134, Toledo over Eastern Michigan. I need to add home and away. What that looks like in here, though, Toledo. You can search in values to find these things because there are going to be a lot of games in here in the long run. And it's Toledo versus Eastern Michigan, where Toledo's on the road, but Eastern Michigan's only a 4% team according to the file, so Toledo on the money line, even though they're on the road. But it's tough because teams on the road don't play as well. I got to add home and away in here. I will do that. And post it in an image. Is there anything else fun? Georgia State, Texas Arlington, North Texas. As a matter of fact, this view is not good for doing what you want to do. You want to view it in this view. And this is the import of the view of the games because you get to see who's home and away. So, bad line, but Purdue should win this game. Marquette is at home. Oh, and they're slightly lower, though. Interesting. So this game favors Wisconsin on the road, but just slightly. Marquette at home is good because there's this there's this home factor, and I had calculated, we're going past 5 minutes. There's this home factor that I had calculated last year. It's like 4 or 5%. You really need to boost the home team by 4 or 5%, and sometimes reduce the opponent's visiting team by 4 or 5% to get what these percentages truly are to make it work better. That means that Marquette +4, for example, is probably a really good bet. That sounds awesome. That sounds like one of my favorite picks of the day. 7 o'clock game. I don't think I'm going to bed. Jacksonville. Ooh, that's hilarious. So it was wrong on this kind of stuff yesterday, which was a team plus a bunch of points that was on the road and favored, like Jacksonville is here. So I don't like this, but it does say that you should take them plus 14.5. We'd have to look into the standing sheet to dig up why this is, but I don't feel like spending the time to do that. So anyway, is there anything cool? I'll just post an image. I'm thinking of setting up a Google sheet that's a live sheet that has just this part, where people that are subscribers and want to collectively utilize this updated, because I'm not going to be paying attention to this all the time, and I don't know if there's a way to automatically fetch the lines from certain places because it's kind of complicated. But just manually, if you know, oh my God, if you find out all of a sudden, for example, Detroit, like we can even guess what the line should be in this game. Like Detroit should be like plus like 350, yeah, and minus 480, kind of like the one above. Well, no, actually, this is a 26er. Wow. No, should be more. Should be like this, probably, right? Something like that. This would be super close. Like this is like but the home team's favorite. This is like minus 115 and like 100, something like that. This would be, God, who knows? I don't know. Maybe, yeah, something like this. Anyway, point is cool stuff. I'm going to add point projections. This thing's probably going to be awesome because having days like this just to start is insane. So let's look at this again for 1 second. I don't want to completely ignore it just because it's yesterday and who really cares, but like you can sort this thing in different ways. You can filter stuff. So I mean, this is great. Like if you wanted to throw things in parlays together, you only would have lost Southern California, and they have one of the highest win percentages on here. So what happened in that game and why did they lose and were they on the road? Oh, I've got to add it. So here's how I'm going to add home and away. So I'm going to do something and say home away equals. Okay, so there's a rolling number ticker thing over here that is the same when it's the same game. Like Valparaiso versus Purdue is the same game. And when the number is not the same above it, then this is going to be an away and it's going to be a home otherwise. And that's how you make it home, away, home, away, home, away. There's a couple ways to copy that. So now what you do is you go back here and we can add home and away, which we've just created, to our list, which is what we've just done. And I like to color home and away because it's helpful. So you do text that contains, away is the bad one, so I make that one kind of red, or you can change, just make it red text. And then home, I like to make something that's nice because it's positive that the team is at home. So usually we use something like green, right? And you end up seeing that, yeah, there's a huge string of home teams that we had favored that won. And Southern California, there was no way to avoid losing with USC at all because it was going to want them up here no matter what. Here, Seattle, of course, you could tell that, and Montana, you could have told to avoid. So what you can do now is you can create a slicer for this, the home and away slicer. and just dump that right up here. And this is what becomes super helpful. If you hide all items in the slicer, it makes it a little bit cleaner like this. You can say, all right, of our games, okay, this all changed because I put that there, darn it. Sorry, I changed a bunch of stuff, right? All this moved over one, right? So I'm fixing this. And this one's still the same. That's good. All right, so now what you can do is you can say, all right, of all these games that we went 18-3 yesterday, how many of them were home teams? The answer would be 14-1. How about that? 93%er. Boom. So today, who's home? Who has a money line that is no, not that one. I'm going to say who has a money line that is greater than 350. And the answer is take Florida International. Take Florida International here. It's got them heavily favored at minus 225 is super reasonable. You could even consider taking them -5 if you want to do the money. I mean, I don't know about spreads. I'm not doing point projections yet, but let's just call the money line better. Toledo over Michigan, over Eastern Michigan is away though, so this is a problem. So what do you say? What didn't I say? Just home games? Wait a minute. Just home games. And what I have to do, value again. It's getting complicated. I'm learning how to use this file as we go, as we create it. Let's try that again. Yeah, okay, it keeps breaking. It won't do both at the same time. So there's a dual filter going on with home and away, so let me just not do that then, sorry. Let's clear this, and let's say win versus spread has a value filter of greater than negative. I'm trying to show games that are reasonable to bet on the money line. And of the home teams, boom, here they are. So you're going to be able to filter this right away and pick and have this stuff throw onto a parlay. So this is supposedly the 4-team parlay, or round robin, is Florida International, Hartford, Creighton, which is the one I made up. They don't even have a real line in the system, so watch that. And Hartford, I made that one up too. Oh, this is bad. I can't do this. Sorry. I can't be making up lines because I don't think they exist. So keep that in mind, but this is a real game, and I think this is a real game. Yeah, I don't think I made up 295. So Loyola Marymount minus 295. So if you're going to do a 2-team parlay, it's Florida International and Loyola Marymount. Okay, after 13 minutes, we finally got to that. Those are the 2 teams you bet in a moneyline parlay, which probably only really doubles your money because they're minus 225 and minus 295. So if you bet 100, you probably only win 100. That's not that fun, but that is the most reliable thing that I would say to do on Friday. And that is the basketball for the day. That is this game at 7 o'clock. That's 3 hours from now almost. And the other one is Loyola Marymount. They're games I'm going to watch. It is 9 o'clock. And the minus 295, it's not a good line, but they're probably going to win this game. Even no, they're actually only at 2%. Ugh. Ugh, this is ugly. But home teams somehow seem to pull these out. That's kind of why you go with that, from what I've learned in the past from doing this for years. There are some away games that have better lines, so keep that in mind. All right, guys, good luck, everybody.